Welcome to Model Making Maniacs Cessna build video. First we're working on cleaning up the joining areas on the wings, just making sure they're nice and straight. And then we'll get out the hot glue gun and we can join that with hot glue. Hold that for a little while and just make sure everything's nice and straight. And then hot glue for the carbon spar. Now we're using the tape that's been provided with the kit on the aileron hinges. These hinges need to be cut first because they're all moulded and yeah, they just need to be cut. I've measured the for the decals on the wings. I've just measured it to make sure that they're nice and even. These decals are pretty good. I quite like them. They don't curl up very much, and they do go on. I've done some light sanding on the foam before the decals go on, just to help get them to stick a little bit better. Because there's no instructions on the kit, you really need to just guess where the stickers go. You can see now that I've got the wing stickers on as well. I did put a little bit of extra glue in the hinge and then covered each of the hinges with the tape. I'll put some extra hot glue on the carbon spar and then hot glued the control horns, and I had to cut some little recesses on the ailerons because the control horns are too short to go through. Hot glue around each area of the servos, and then cut slots for the servo wires, and cut a little recess for where the servo wire extensions go. I ended up using 200mm extensions in the end. These ones are a little bit long. There's a little shot of the servo. Now you have to drill out the servo arms to make them a little bit bigger for the control horns. You can see the stickers where I put them on now. They do tend to peel a little bit off the end, but in the end it doesn't look too bad. For the wing dowels, I've used a soldering iron to poke holes in the fuselage, and then stuck the dowels in with a bit of CA glue first, and then finished them off with hot glue. You can see the control horns, and then hot glued the carbon spar into the elevator, and that was there's one spare carbon spar that goes into the tail section as well. I'm using a small device to center the servos. Excuse me. Once the servos have been centered, you can take off the servo arm and make sure it's in the center position, and then you can adjust the control surfaces to a neutral position using the push rods. Quite a handy little device, that. And now the rudder and elevator servos need to be installed. They're hot glued. You only need to put hot glue on the front and back of the servo. Just make sure that there's enough clearance between the two servos so that the servo arms don't touch. You might want to put the steering gear push rod before you install that. This is just centering the rudder and the elevator. I'm doing them both at the same time. You can see where they are now. Hot gluing in the nose section. And screwing in the engine onto the engine mount now. This is all preformed. It's quite good, really. Finishing off the servo extensions, cutting the recesses, using a little bit of hot glue to put them in place, and then actually covering the servo wires with some more of the fibre tape that's been provided, which firstly holds them in place, but secondly it'll stop a bit of the drag on the wing, make it a little bit more aerodynamic. Just finishing off gluing in the dowels that hold the wings in place. And then adding a little bit of cloth tape to the center wing join, which will provide a little bit more strength when the wing's under load. And then once that's been added, then I've measured and put on some small pieces of tape where the rubber bands right over the edges of the leading edge and the trailing edge of the wings. That stops the rubber bands from cutting into the foam. If I find that there's still some damage to the wings, I'll probably end up putting a little bit of plastic on those and sticking some harder plastic just to protect the wing area a little bit more. Just finishing up there, I'll put the wing on, put a couple of bands, rubber bands to hold it in place. I'd probably end up using 4 rubber bands when I'm flying, so they'll be in a from left to right, front to back configuration, so that the wings held on a little bit stronger. And that's it, folks. Really, we're looking pretty good, ready for our maiden flight. Thanks for watching.